G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Thursday, the 22nd of February 2018, and the time here is 09:30 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, apologies for not posting in the last week or so, 10 days. Quite frankly, the reason is for health issues for myself. Unfortunately, I woke up last Monday and I was partially blind in my left eye. Apparently, the gel that's inside my eye went hard and it pulls away from the retina and makes you go partially blind. If you'd asked me if it's any better today, kinda, not really, but unfortunately, it's a wait and see situation whether I have an operation on it or not. So that's why I haven't posted. But look, there's worse off people in the world than me. So, you know, have to graciously accept what God's given me, really. Doesn't stop me from doing stuff, but I've actually had to basically do nothing for the last couple of weeks to make sure I don't aggravate it, etc. And I thought I haven't posted for so long, I better post something. So as you all know, there's loads going on in the world. It's gone to shit show in a handbasket, really. The thing that worries me the most is that there seems to be a concerted effort here in Australia to dumb us down even further, if that's possible. Like, how much further can you remove us from the reality, from reality? The paper's just terrible. Honestly, it's getting to the stage where you try to keep up with information, and I'll show it to you in a second. The information is just, they either push it back so far that you can't find it, or they don't bother reporting on it, or they make such a bad report on it it's not even worth reading. All these types of things. So for me personally, I've started to sort of find archive vaults for some of this information, which takes time, folks. It's very time consuming. I hope you appreciate that. So what I'm going to show you today is a couple of things in regards to geopolitical and also financial. Now, if you remember, last time I said the stock market will go up again, it'll go down again, up again, down again. Well, in actual fact, I didn't, but I should have. I was going to do a video yesterday morning telling you all that the stock market was going to crash. And I'll prove to you that in a second, that you can just about read how it's going to go at the moment. You don't just get a big up, and then just bang. That doesn't happen. You need to have a consecutive highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. But the problem is it goes from the current high, or the past high, and then it goes down and up, down and up and down, never going back to the high. So the high, the past high, is the one to keep an eye on. And as you know, it was 29,000, 26,000 Dow, something like that, just crazy territory, stratospheric. It won't go back to that level, folks. For there to be a crash, it can't go back to that level. If it does go back to that level, then the US government and all the governments would have stepped in and started buying all the companies' stocks. So there would have been, take Japan, for example. Japan is currently currently owns, I think from previous memory, it's nearly 20% of the stock market. So just let that sink in a bit. The Japanese government owns 20% of the current Japanese stock market. Sounds bizarre, doesn't it, to even say that? But that's what's been going on. So for the stock market to go up again, there would have to be massive buying from the US government. Massive buying, and that's not going to happen. As you know, they're trying to sell all the debt that they've incurred that they bought originally. They're trying to sell it back out on the market, which is why the stock market's going like this. So let me show you a couple of things here. First of all, let me get a couple of plugs in here. This is my Patreon page, Prep Aussie. Thanks for everyone who's been a patron. I unfortunately haven't been able to post lately, as I said, so much apologies for that. I hope you can bear with me. And even if you can do $1, folks, please, it helps. Keeps me going. It keeps this site going. It does help. PayPal account. If you would prefer to do PayPal, please, by all means, do so. In some regards, it's probably even easier than the Patreon. Now, sponsors. This is a great little Aussie company, folks, honestly. It's Slingbows Australia. They're just up the north of Brisbane on the way to the Sunshine Coast. They have excellent stuff. I'll go through it. I've just ordered this bad boy, the thrower, the super heavy duty one, and I'm also going to venture into one of the fishing sling bows. These items are extremely well made, extremely portable, i.e. you can take them anywhere with you, and extremely effective. I'll obviously put the link in the bottom of the description box, or in the description box. Chase them up, because they have some really good stuff, guys, honestly. Can you believe you can do string bow fishing? And I'm actually itching to give it a go, just to see how it works out. Secondly, ozfarmers.com. This is the only company in Australia presently that is doing the Patriot food supplies, the emergency supplies. Now, I'm happy to promote these guys. I haven't got anything going with them at the moment, but I have been advised to tell you they have a 3-month wait to get more stock in, because they sold out of all their stock. Literally went out overnight. That's, it was a bit of a shock for them, I'm guessing, because they didn't realize how much the market here was. So I'm happy to promote these guys. You can see by what they've got, it's good. Look, it's Patriot food supplies from America, folks. It's bloody good stuff. Let me click on this. Oh, it just doesn't open up. Okay, here you go. Patriot Pantry. Look, this stuff is great, folks. So if you want to get hold of them, get hold of them. As I said, they've got a 3-month wait, but as I said, I'm happy to promote this company. They're an Aussie company, and as we know, Aussie companies need to be promoted more. And order your stuff. You might be able to put a down payment on a future order. Who knows? Give them a call. Right, let's get to the nitty gritty, folks. The stock market. Let's do this for a start. Debt to GDP ratios. Now, the thing here with the debt to GDP, I've just clicked it so it shows the highest to the lowest. That's Japan. Japan's now gone up to 250. 250% of its GDP ratio. Now, folks, I'm going to show you something. Let's just click on Denmark here. Right, move across the page here to this one. This is what you should be aiming for as a country, but Even this is high, but this is sustainable. You can actually sustain this debt level because, you know, you obviously have a debt level that you need to sustain. It's like any household in the world, it needs to have a debt so you can keep functioning. You'd hope not, but you know, you try to keep your debt to the relevant levels. Have a look at Russia's 12%. 12%. Look at America's. Where's the United States? 105%. Technically, anything over, look, let's be realistic, anything over 60, once it starts getting past 60, it becomes unsustainable debt. You can't pay it back. You can try, you may whittle it down, you may be able to force everybody in the country to help out and, you know, whatever, you may get it back. But obviously once the debt balloons to, say, as I said, it was 30%, then it becomes unsustainable. At 105%, it is totally unsustainable. And even scarily, nobody, and I mean nobody, in the fiscal world has gone to 100% and then had low interest rates and then have ever got out of the debt. It's impossible. It's mathematically impossible. You can't do it. You can't just fudge numbers and make it up. It's not going to happen. These countries are technically insolvent. Everybody knows it who works in the financial world. So when you start seeing countries like this, Australia's got 41%. And for us, with 23 million people, that is pretty unsustainable. It's getting to the stage where it is unsustainable, unless we pull some magic rabbit out of the hat pretty soon. So something to keep an eye on, folks. Now, the bond market. The bond US 10-year is actually going to 2.95. Now, a couple of weeks ago, it was 2.7. The graph tells you here. 2.8. 2.8. Sorry, 2.8 wasn't it? Or 2.9. How long ago was this? So 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago it was 2.6, 2.7. Now, the 30-year, this is a crucial one, folks. The 30-year has now spiked above 3%. Look how far it's gone up in just a matter of weeks, and it's going parabolic. And very soon it's just going to go straight up. Why? Because people can't make any money out of the stock market. They're understanding now that it's gone. They can't make any money out of it. So they will try to get their money out of it. And they're going to try to buy stocks, buy bond yields again. That's what has been forecast, and that is exactly what is happening. What you're looking at here is CNN money, and it obviously tells us that the Dow dropped yesterday. So once again, up, down, up, down. This is zero hedge. Dow plunges 500 points as bond yields and the dollar spike. Interesting article, folks. But what's even more interesting is the fact that this has been predicted by every single person in the financial world, except for Harry Dent, if I remember, and everyone's told him he's a complete loony. He doesn't go on many shows these days. Look, I'm going to show you a graph in a minute, and it's a comparison between 1929 and now, the year 2000. I can't find one that goes to the now, but you'll see in a minute it's pretty self-explanatory anyway. But the problem is that, like I said, it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, and then it gets to a point where it just drops off the face of the earth. This is the worry, and this is what we, you, me, everybody else, needs to be prepared for. You can bury your head in the sand for so long and say, this, we've been saying this for years. Yeah, well, we have been saying this for years. Well, not just me, but hundreds of people have been saying this for years. You need to understand that they've done every single trick in the book, and even some tricks that no one knew even existed, to keep this going. They've run out of ideas, folks. They can't keep it going anymore. They simply just can't keep this ship sailing. It's getting to the point where it's just going to have to happen. Which is where you come into play, and you actually use a bit of the old noggin, and you try and simplify your life, get rid of your debt. This is just my personal, what I'm doing financially. I'm getting rid of as much debt as I can. I'm trying to own everything I own, if that makes sense, without it being a credit card bill. Remember, in the late 80s and 90s, when we had the recession we had to have, credit card interest rate limits here were 35%. 35%. So literally you woke up one day and it was 15, and the next day you woke up and it was going towards 30. And you're thinking, holy shit, how can I pay that back? So now's the time to be clever. And now's the time to keep it simple, stupid. I've also gone in and fixed my mortgage rate for the next 3 years at 3.9%. Yeah, look, I pay a bit extra on my mortgage repayments. Well, actually, I pay a lot more on my mortgage repayments. But at the end of the day, I have simplified my income. And that's what this is all about. I've actually got, I believe now, a pretty stable fiscal result. And that's what you're after. Okay, so let me show you some more stuff. As I said, the Dow plunges and the bonds yields go up. It's a good article. I'll put it in the description box for you to read. This one here is the graph that's scary. That's not the right one. You can find these on Google yourself. So this is currently us. Look, it's almost a mirror image, folks. Except obviously this line went through the roof. Absolutely through the roof. DJIA is the Dow Jones Industrial Average, just in case you didn't know. Look at this. So when it got to this level here, and you notice how it was going to go up again, go down, have a short spike, go down, have another big rally. Of course, that's what's going to happen, because people are going to step in then and buy all the stock they can. They'll be like pigs at the trough, folks. They'll think, oh, wow, this is fantastic. I can buy anything I want. Remember the Kennedy family, the father of the Kennedys bought all his stocks at $1 a stock, apparently. And he became a multi-gazillionaire. Now, this is the one that's, obviously the big problem. Now, remember, this went from 1720 down to less than 13, it looks like. So we're going from 26, so it's double this just about, and we're going to be going down to these levels here. Well, actually, once it starts free falling, I reckon it'll go all the way, because people will start to realise that it's all just one big fat lie. But don't forget, as I said, this isn't here at 17, it's actually at 26, 28, and it's obviously gone down at the present. So be warned, folks, it's coming. And it's coming like a freight train. It's come off the rails and it's tearing through a corn paddock. And these are all the charts. I wanted to just talk to you about, for all you Australians, the paedophile issue with Cardinal George Pell. And I'm just wondering whether you're actually paying any attention to actually what's going on there. Folks, it would appear, and like I said, this is one of the articles that you have to find right back in the back of the filing, the archive cabinet. And you have to wonder just how far this is rotten to the core, because you get to realise that, yeah, there's something seriously wrong here. You can't have, there was obviously a paedophile ring within the church at the time, and you would have to think that it had tentacles that went out everywhere. So I take with a grain of salt the government saying that they're going to have a sorry day. That's just baffles my mind, really, folks. The true nature and the sickness of this is, as I'm going to show you, it's disgusting. So my eyes playing up. It's been shown now that there was, for all intents and purposes, an actual paedophile ring operating here for more than 40 to 50 years. 40 years, I believe, sorry. Goes right back to when they had the boys' homes, the girls' homes. It's interesting. I'd like to see just how many children disappeared from these homes and were never seen again. And where did they go to? I wonder if anybody's actually looked that up and tried to find out. It honestly makes me sick. And what I'm going to show you is going to make you even sicker. What you're looking at is me going through the archives as regards the ABC archives, the ABC news sites, looking for George Pell, the information on George Pell. But what I'm actually looking for is, I'm on page 2 or 3, I'm on page 2, which is quite ironic because you have to go, like I said, it's actually a mission finding this stuff now. This was interesting, very, very interesting, right? This is George Pell here, just in case people don't know. Now, what's interesting to note is that George Pell is the Pope's number 2 man. Well, he is the number 2 man to the Pope. So if the Pope died tomorrow, this is the number 1 bloke in the Catholic Church for a short time until there's another vote counted. This made very little news, but it is absolutely sickening, absolutely sickening. What this guy did was he put a submission into court to seek the access to all the people who made a complaint against him and their medical records. And you're thinking, well, why would he do that? Well, the only reason he would do that is to, there's only one main reason, and that's to prove that technically there's something wrong with them mentally. Now, if you can prove something is wrong with someone mentally, then you pretty well wipe the case from the court, because they are going to have a hell of a time proving that they are not lying and all this sort of stuff. Now, thank God, because the judge saw right through this and said, no, under no circumstances can you have access to their medical records. Now, don't forget, folks, medical records are not supposed to be seen by anyone except for your GP and an attending specialist that you have. That's it. Even the government's not supposed to have access to your full medical records without your knowledge. So this disgusting piece of crap tried to get hold of people's medical records. Can you believe this? Can you believe this stuff? This is how far these people are prepared to go. Now, he's actually been charged as a convict. He's actually the charges against him have stuck, and now he's got to go to face trial. And I say hip, hip, hooray, because this guy was actually leading a paedophile ring. There's no two ways about it. Absolutely no two ways about it. You know, these guys are unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, you might have seen this heading that I brought up just briefly before. Now, this is extremely worrying, folks, and you all need to pay attention to this, because this affects Australia more than anything at the moment. What this means, let me show you something first. Hang on. Let me go back to this article, right? Chinese warships enter East Indian Ocean amid Maldives crisis. Indebted Pacific nations are alarmed. Well, I would reckon they've got a bloody good right to be alarmed, because what the bloody hell is China doing in the Maldives? Well, this stuff is getting serious, folks. I'll show you where the Maldives is, just in case some people don't know. You should do. This is the Maldives here. This is India, Sri Lanka, right? Just let me get perspective here. This is China over here. It's not even, to get to there, they've got to go right through either this straight here or this straight through here. They've actually got to go out of their way to get there, folks. Now, you have to ask why the Maldives asked China to get involved. India is the country that really runs the Maldives. Everybody knows that, and everybody accepts that. So what the hell is a country from this side of the earth doing coming over to this side of the earth, as in oceans, folks, and sticking their nose into a country that they have no real connection to? Look, that's Hong Kong over here. This is how far away it is. That's the Maldives there. You can just about row a boat to Sri Lanka. There's been a massive escalation of this problem. And America is obviously aware of this, and so is the Australian government. And guess where the Australian Prime Minister is today? He's actually in the US talking to good old Donald about how bad this is all getting. Folks, there's no two ways about it. There's going to be a massive problem with China. China's trying to play we're the big good guys sort of thing. They've got this thing called the Silk Road Initiative that they're signing everybody up to. And once you sign up to it, you automatically more or less become a protectorate of China. It's extremely worrying. And these people are getting very serious with this shit. And as I said to you, they are not going to stop. China is going to try and expand its influence in this region of the world to the point where you'll have China on one side and America and its allies on the other. That's how bad this is getting. Just think about that for a sec. This is where it's all going, by the way. There's no other way that it can go because China is obstinately now saying we are the #1 power in this region. Please, Mr. US government, piss off. And that's obviously going to get fractured at some point. How that happens, I'm not 100% sure, but it will happen, folks. There will be a conflict somewhere, unfortunately. And as I said to you last time, you really, really need to keep an eye on it because this could literally turn into a flashpoint overnight. I still personally think that the Americans will, they have greatest air power, and I still believe that they will literally just fly the jets across, drop a shitload of bombs on these man-made islands, destroy the crap out of them, and then fly back to America and say, well, we told you, and give it as a warning to the rest of the nations. But obviously that's going to piss China right off, create a hornet's nest. So, just what's the expression? Watch this space. But keep an eye on it because it's actually very, very serious. It's kind of funny that people are, the world, there's so much going on. This is what's pissed me off of this Trump thing in America. The people are not paying it, the media is not giving it any attention when China has literally taken over the whole of the South China Sea. And they don't have any rights to it at all, none. Never did, never have, never will. So, like I said, just watch this space, folks. I'll leave my sermon for the day there, and hopefully you'll understand. Things have ratcheted up quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. Let's do the verse of the day. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet, and if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself. Love worketh no ill to his neighbour. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. I.e., love reigns supreme, not hatred, etc. Good verse. And as always, folks, we'll end with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So, folks, we are getting to that stage, unfortunately, where, look, no, we haven't. We've been here several years now, but start keeping it simple, stupid. Just start ticking your boxes off, paying your debts off, stocking up on stuff, and keeping your ear to the ground and your eyes to the horizon, because this is getting pretty damn serious now. I purposely didn't mention anything about Trump in this video in regards to QAnon, etc., blah, 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 blah. Look, as I said to you guys before, it was starting to turn into a bit of a theatre. And what I meant by that was it was a theatre show. And I've been proven right with that, because it's dragged on and on and on too long. And now there's some conjecture as to whether the person that's actually doing QAnon is actually real, the real QAnon and all this. You know, look, I don't need QAnon to tell me that the world's gone to shit in a handbasket, really, folks. And I don't need QAnon to tell me that to get ready, prepared. And I don't need QAnon to tell me to buy supplies. And look, that's, like I said to you, keep it simple, stupid. You know, that's the best thing you can do at the moment. All of us can do. This QAnon thing has now turned into such a circus. There's like 700 people that are now deciphering QAnon stuff. And I'm like, that's just crazy, you know. There's only so much that he can tell us anyway. You know, if you're paying attention, then you'll realise that, yeah, it has gone to shit in a handbasket. Trump's in a queue to save his presidency, and it's going to keep getting worse. What more do you need to know than that? Individually, we're not going to be able to jump in there and help Trump out individually at the moment. I think people think they can. It's like, how? That's not going to happen, folks. That's not reality. Reality is get yourself ready, prepare, keep your family well, and make sure you can look after your family for when the shit really does hit the fan. You know, the warning signs are there. If you don't believe it, go and have a look around the world. Anyway, I will be posting more regularly now, hopefully, if I don't have to have an operation on the eye. Hopefully I don't. I'll find out tomorrow. But if not, God bless and prep out.